that's it for your weekend forecast. Say, kids, you know what time it is? That's right. It's time to make that random call and ask today's $10,000 question. Ooh, and it's a toughie. Name the only common plant that's a vegetable, a starch, an herb, and a spice. Oh, that is really, really tough. All right, let's go to the phones.
Hello?
Hello, sir, for $10,000. Excuse me?
Sorry?
Look, I think we called you at a bad time. That wasn't quite the answer we were looking for. Bye-bye. Bye now. Well, we don't get a winner today, but believe it or not, the answer is celery. I know I never do anything but put peanut butter on it, but it turns out that humble rib is a lot more versatile than we thought. In fact, celery really is...
Apicum graveolens. Celery, a member of the parsley family, is certainly one of the most versatile bits of vegetation in this store, although it rarely gets the respect that it so richly deserves. Now, thousands of years ago, around the Mediterranean and China, celery was a bitter herb with skinny little ribs. It was used strictly for medicinal purposes and supposedly as a powerful well, you know. Now, the Greeks used celery, much as the Romans used laurel leaves as garlands for their athletes, who were also refreshed with celery wine, which was supposed to be very invigorating indeed. Homer mentions celery, or selenon, in the Odyssey, which is about as Greek as you can get without joining a fraternity. Now, by the 16th century, the original wild form of celery had been developed out into 3 distinct varieties. One was a leafy variety, which is still available in China and parts of Europe, but rarely in America. Then there's good old-fashioned rib celery. It should be noted that here in America, Dutch farmers who settled in and around Kalamazoo, Michigan, were the nation's first serious celery farmers. See, back then, there was plenty of mucky but rich land up there, and the Dutch had the experience and, of course, the wooden shoes to tackle it. By the 1890s, farmers were actually boarding local trains to hand out samples of the crop. I wonder how that looked.
Hey everybody, we are the Celery Stock Gang. If everybody sits down, shuts up, and grabs a rib of celery, nobody's gonna get hurt.
Thank you.
Hey, what are you looking at? Didn't your mama tell you it's not polite to stare?
We don't want any trouble, Mr. Dutch farmer man. I'll take that.
You make sure you eat that.
I will. That's delicious. Of course, back then, celery was still pretty bitter stuff, so they blanched the crop. That is, they placed a brown paper bag on it while it matured in the ground. The third variety of celery was developed specifically for its enlarged root ball, which we call, cleverly enough, celery root, or celeriac, which is not very popular in the United States. Why? Well, could it be because it looks like a big old... Watch this.
Oh, how disgusting.
Typical American reaction. If it's ugly on the outside, it can't possibly be good on the inside. Well, despite its rugged exterior, believe me, the celery root is crisp, it is nut-like, and has the flavor of clean, pure celery. What? Storing celery root is easy. Just twist it up in a couple layers of plastic wrap and refrigerate for up to a month. As for rib celery, moisture means fresher, so I like to give it the flour vase treatment with a little water in a halved soda bottle. Plastic shower cap makes a very nice topper. Now, since you've got the most to prove, you go first. Step 1, don't wash it. Oh, you'll be tempted to, but it will only make peeling harder as a slick and slimy exterior will result. Your best tool is to go after it with a heavy-duty peeler, okay? But even getting in with this is going to be tough. So the first thing I do is I always quarter these guys with a nice serrated knife. That way you can work on the board and keep things stable. But this means that you can finally kind of get in on a corner with your peeler. There, just work around it. Take your time. Now, as you get each one of these clean, to keep it from browning in the air, stash it in some water laced with a little lemon juice or vinegar. Now, my favorite celery root application requires matchstick cuts, and although I could do that with a knife if I felt like it, I rather take the easy route and use a slicer with a matchstick blade, which of course necessitates, as always, the hand guard. We don't want any injuries here. So we're going to cut one celery root, that's about 1 pound, into matchsticks, just like this. Aw, they're pretty. Next, we'll need a dressing. 1½ tablespoons each freshly squeezed lemon juice and Dijon mustard, which will be easier to measure if you dump it in the lemon juice. A few turns of pepper, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and then we will bring to the party 3/4 of a cup of creme fraiche. Ah, that sound means that creme fraiche is our ingredient of the day. Now, it is a slightly fermented heavy cream from France, and up until a couple of years ago, it was only available at fancy French food stores. But these days, it's available at a lot of your larger American megamarts. If you can't get hold of it, it's worth making yourself. Just get a clean jar and combine 3 parts of heavy cream, it's got to be heavy cream, with 1 part good quality yogurt with active cultures or bacteria. Cover, set in a warm corner of your kitchen for 12 hours or until it is slightly thickened. That's creme fraiche. After that, stash it in the fridge to halt the march of bacterial action. It'll keep for about 2 weeks, and it is worth the trouble, believe me. So whisk your dressing together, add the celery root, toss, and then cover and refrigerate for a couple of hours before serving. Celeriac remoulade, a celebrated French bistro standard. Think of it as an alternative slaw, served with roasted poultry or a steak. If you really want to put the mon Dieu into your French friends, put it on a hot dog. Now, when contemplating the culinary options of a new and fairly unknown ingredient, occasionally it helps to look at its ingredients. Now, as you can see, celery root contains a fair amount of starch and far less of the fiber that gives rib celery its dental floss demeanor. This, married with the root's subtle nutty flavor, makes it ideal for producing a puree. We will require 3 heads, approximately 2½ to 3 pounds of celeriac. You're going to quarter them just as before and peel them just as before, and it'll make a big mess just as before. And you're going to take your cleaned pieces just like before, and you're going to put them in some acidulated water, you know, just like before. Now, when you got all your pieces dumped to the floor like that, we're going to cube those quarters into basically 1/2-inch cubes. If you wish to cube your celery root for later pureeing, go ahead and stash these guys in clean acidulated water to prevent browning. If you plan on pureeing right away, don't bother. Now, fetch down your favorite 4-quart saucepan and place it over low heat and add a tablespoon of plain old olive oil. Don't break out that fancy, fruity, extra virgin stuff. The heat will simply deflower it, if you get my meaning. Now, when said lipid begins to shimmer, go ahead and dump in all of your big, ugly root pieces, along with 4 cloves of garlic, peeled, of course, and sliced thin. A teaspoon of kosher salt and about a 1/4 teaspoon of freshly ground black pepper. Now just stir and cook and stir until the celery root just begins to soften. Figure on 5 minutes, depending, of course, on the ripeness of your particular specimens. Now, when the pieces are just soft like this, gonna boost the heat to medium-high and add 5 cups of nice, clean, fresh water. There. Gonna keep stirring until this comes to a boil. When it does reach a boil, turn the heat down so you can maintain a simmer for 20 to 22 minutes. Then carefully remove it to your colander and drain. Now we'll take a look here, just see how that's done. Yeah, perfect. It'll mash easy. That's what we want. Now, while those drain, 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter will go into 1/4 cup of nice heavy cream in the microwave, and blast that just long enough for the butter to melt. The cook must always be very cautious when pureeing starchy foods. The physical power dosed out by a food processor, blender, or even a stand mixer can take this cube straight to the gluey nasty phase without stopping at the pleasantly whipped phase where we'd like to get off the bus. There is, however, one tool that can do the job. Anytime you shop for a kitchen appliance, it can be a little bit tricky, but once you slap on a motor, confusion is all but guaranteed. Well, I have a pretty good feeling that our old friend W will be able to answer any questions that we have about immersion blenders. But believe me, she's going to be a lot more cooperative if she doesn't know it's me.
Oh, can I help you?
Why, yes. I was hoping you could steer me towards one of those long, spinny, blendery kind of stick devices.
An immersion blender.
That's it. That's it exactly. I could see you're as smart as you are pretty.
Thank you. This way? We have several models to choose from.
Indeed you do. Let's just cut to the chase. Show me the one with the highest wattage.
Did someone say wattage?
More watts means more power, you know?
Heck yes, it does.
When I was in college, I had a 6,000-watt stereo in my dorm.
No kidding.
I sent out for a special 300-watt cordless drill.
Awesome. Excellent. So, what'll it be, little lady?
Yeah, come on, show us your watts.
What is it with boys and wattage? I bet there's not even a one of you that can tell me what it means. Can you?
It means louder?
Yeah, louder.
Energy flow is an expression of power. And the word watt,
Which comes from James Watt, the famous steam engine innovator.
expresses the rate of energy flow, which means a 200-watt motor can consume more electrical energy per second than a 100-watt motor.
That means it's got more power, right?
Yeah.
But what really matters is the ratio of watts out to amperes. Oh, okay, guys. Look, a 500-watt motor may be very capable, but what really matters is the entire system and design that is connected to it. Take this immersion blender. It only has 240 watts. but it's highly controllable with the 9 speeds and a superior blade design. And it has a removable metal shaft that can withstand extremely high temperatures and is easy to clean. Okay, well, just think of it as a Berg Warner 256 hooked to a 69 HD Monero.
With the right tool in hand, we're ready to blend. When you're about halfway to mash, go ahead and add the butter and cream mixture and work until you've got a smooth yet still chunky consistency. It's like a big, nutty, slightly sweet bowl of mashed potatoes, and I could just eat these things by the bowlful. Of course, if you want to serve along with something else, you might try something roasted in the meat department, a nice juicy steak perhaps, or some game. Wild if you can get it. Of course, you know what would be really nice right now? Be a beverage. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you owe it to yourselves not to miss out on the preventative and curative powers of Fuzzmucker's famous celery tonic.
Hey, what's so special about celery?
Madam, I am so glad you asked why in his monumental 1747 treatise Pharmacopoeia Universalis, physician Robert James revealed that through the ages, celery has been used as a diuretic, a digestive aid, an anti-lactogen, and a carminative general tonic, as well as an aphrodisiac. Well, let's just say, ladies and gentlemen, it should be the tip pole of any nutritional program.
Will it help my rheumatism?
Rheumatism? Madam, do I appear to suffer from said affliction?
No, but...
Well, do you think that's by coincidence? $1 a bottle for Fuzzmucker's guaranteed celery tonic.
Guaranteed to do what?
Guaranteed to do, why, whatever needs doing, of course. Did you know that in the Orient, celery is used strictly as a medicinal, while in Iran, the seeds are boiled down to extract the essential oil apiol, the fumes of which are inhaled to relieve headaches?
Will it grow my hair back?
Sir, try one on the house. Rub it on your scalp and drink the rest. Great Scott, what's that? I thought I saw something.
Look, he's got hair. It's a miracle.
It's not a miracle. It's Fuzzmuckers. Only $2 a bottle. Step right up. Step right up while they last, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. There's plenty to go around. Celery tonics have been around for at least a century, though the FDA eventually forced the manufacturers to downgrade the word tonic to soda because of the unproven medical implications. Come on, come on, come on. Pittsburgh, Sunday, don't be late.
Whatever.
I don't know if it really possesses any magical cures, but I do know that there is some magical flavor in these little seeds. Behold the mighty celery seed, the spice that is the key to my considerable success. You know, besides Rhode Island, where German immigrants added it to a very famous seafood boil recipe, in Chicago, where again, Germans started sprinkling it on hot dogs, Americans, by and large, do not pay this powerhouse any respect. We're going to fix that. Looks like it's time to make up another batch of fuzzmuckers, so you might as well stick around. We'll do a small, home-oriented type of batch. What we'll need is 2 tablespoons of celery seed ground. And I usually use just a blade-style coffee grinder for this. I keep one around just for spices, don't you know? Yeah, that should do it. We don't want it too finely ground. There, that'll do it. Now, we move to the syrup. By syrup, of course, I mean a simple syrup, which is a very powerful concoction, especially if you're into the manufacture of cocktails. Now, it follows a very specific ratio, which is 2-to-1 by volume, sugar to water. So 2 cups of just plain old sugar and 1 cup of equally plain H2O. Believe it or not, you can dissolve 2 cups of sugar into 1 cup of water, as long as you apply a little bit of heat. So you'll get this onto high. There we go. And simply stir occasionally until all the grainy stuff has disappeared. As soon as your syrup has attained boilage, you may kill the heat and bring forth the goodness. And don't stir this in, just dump it right in the middle. If you try to stir, you're just going to make a mess in there. Cover and set your favorite timer for 1 hour. I'll be back. When an hour is up, we will need some kind of heat-proof vessel to catch our syrup. I like to use a canning funnel, and the gold, or supposedly gold filter, out of my coffee maker will do the trick. Now, go slowly. We don't want to spill here. You smell that? Can you smell? Oh. Of course you can't. I'm sorry. You can't smell this. Well, if you could, you'd be smelling something called apiol, an essential oil that gives celery its special aroma and flavor. Now, we should also mention that although they look a lot like seeds, celery seeds aren't. They're actually tiny fruits, dried fruits, but they look a lot like seeds, so we'll go with that. You have to use a very, very fine mesh, and it's going to take a little while to drain, but that is okay. Get down your favorite beverage glass, load up with a little bit of ice, and grab your syrup. This stuff will keep, by the way, for up to 6 months if properly refrigerated, and some seltzer or club soda, whichever you prefer. Now, about 2 tablespoons or 1 ounce of the syrup goes over the rocks, and then stand back, show me, pour that right over the rocks. Give a swizzle and enjoy that celery goodness. Oh, you could, of course, put this into cute little bottles like this and sell for $1 or $2 or maybe even $3 if you can work out that whole hair replacement gig. Perhaps you thought I was going to skip over the lowly celery stalk in retribution for losing $10,000. Of course not. I can hardly blame celery for being nature's spoon. I blame the peanut butter for that one. We will require 8 stalks of celery for our braise, so we will first give them a rinse to remove any lingering particulate matter. Once they're good and clean, slice into 1-inch pieces on the bias, please. Before you exile these leaves to the compost heap or to the stock pot, consider their botanical pedigree. Okay, celery is part of the same family that gives us parsley, dill, and coriander. And just like those more famous herbs, these leaves, when finely chopped, can be used to provide a final flavorant to a wide array of dishes. So don't waste them. Grab a saute pan in the 10-inch range and heat a tablespoon of butter over medium heat. Once it's melted, in goes the celery, along with a pinch of kosher salt and some, you know. Let it cook for 5 minutes or until the celery begins to soften. Then bring half a cup of beef broth, or canned bouillon if you must, to the party. Give it a stir, lit it up, and reduce the heat to the lowest setting you have. In 5 more minutes, the celery will be tender but not mushy. So uncover, crank up the heat, and reduce that liquid, okay? In another 5 minutes, it'll be a nice, tasty glaze. So remove this to your serving dish and garnish with the chopped celery leaves. Remember, they are a very lovely herb. Well, I'm not about to tell you to stow the peanut butter or the pimento cheese if that's your speed, but I do hope that we've made a successful argument for giving celery a more prominent and varied placement on the plate. After all, any plant that gives us an herb, a spice, a vegetable, and a starch can't help but being, yeah, you know. See you next time on, yeah, you know.